Parrot information, where should you get it? Watch this video to find out what's best to look for when you're researching your parrots. Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm David, I'm joined by Pickles and Scampy, and we're filming in the bedroom today for a change of pace, and we are discussing the topic of parrot research, bird research, and where should you get your information from. It's a video I've been wanting to do for ages. I find the topic irritating and interesting at the same time, and I know a lot of you get confused about where to find reliable information. So I thought it'd be useful to do a video talking about what to look for, what not to look for, and what to avoid. So let's get started with my first point. It's the most important one, and it's one I've covered in other videos, but I have to reiterate it because it is so important. When you're researching anything to do with your parrots, don't just go to one place. Look at multiple videos, look at multiple sources. Me and Sophie regularly encourage people to explore other channels other than their own, purely because there's a wealth of information out there and you need to find as much as possible. If you ever hear someone say they are the oracle of all knowledge and you should only go to them or only trust them, that's a big warning sign. I wouldn't say avoid them entirely because you can still watch them, but make sure you cross-check your facts with other people. Go to multiple sources, it will save you a lot of stress in the long run. Now, my next tip related to my first one is question information you're given. Don't just take it for granted, don't just assume it's correct. Cross-check it and question it. If someone says something, ask other members of the parrot community, maybe check some other videos on the topic, think about it a bit more yourself, because if you do take it for granted and it's incorrect, it's going to lead you to trouble in the future. So question what you're told, see if it aligns with your values, and think about it a little bit more, because that will help you avoid lots of pitfalls, won't it, Scampy? Now, how many times has someone said, I've got a study, or show me a study, something to do with studies. This is something I find quite irritating, but you know, studies are very useful. But studies aren't the be all and end all. When you are presented with a study, make sure that you actually try and read it if it's possible, or at least read the abstract. If someone just says, I've got a study, make sure you check into that study and its validity first. Because it's very easy to say, show me a study, or I've got a study. You need to just see that thing and be able to verify it for yourself. If they can't produce it, then I would argue they either don't have it, or maybe it's behind a paywall, which is no use to you, and you should maybe cross-check it and question it elsewhere. On the topic of studies as well, not all studies are created equal. If you can read the abstract or read the study, it will help fill you in on how useful it is. If it has a limited sample size, if it hasn't, it's only got a very specific area of interest that someone's misinterpreted, those things can point you to see if it's actually useful to you and your individual situation or topic. Now, another thing I find irritating is people throwing the word science around like it's a club that you beat other people's opinions down with. I am a big fan of science. I think science is awesome, but science isn't necessarily what everyone else thinks science means. Science is consensus based. That means science is gaining knowledge through replications, gaining knowledge through lots of different sources, cross-checking it, fact-checking it, doing it over and over again, the process of discovery and the process of researching and verifying information through experimentation and testing. Just because something is science, someone just says, oh, this is science, doesn't necessarily mean it's true or the most valid up-to-date data. So again, let's take the study example. When you see a study, scientific study, you want to see replications of that study. That means someone's duplicated it and verified the results of that study. You want to see a consensus where it's been peer reviewed, where other people have looked at that study and said, yeah, that's good information, that's useful, I agree with it, and then it becomes much more valid and it has a lot more scientific basis. Replications, peer review, consensus. Science is the search for knowledge. So if someone just grabs something out of the air, does one quick bit of research, and then suddenly says, yep, I've proven it, that's not really science. Science is constantly evolving. We only have, Sammy's on there, Sammy's on the camera now. Science is only as valid as it is at that current moment before someone else updates it and finds something even more useful. Now, another big tip is use your own observations of your birds and your own values to guide your research. You know, your values are important. Your own observations of your parrot's behaviour are important. You know, you may not have as much experience as other people, but you can learn and you can sort of trust your own eyes in many sort of situations. What are you doing? You don't know my sleeve, you want a hand. So trust yourself to an extent, you know, research, learn, but trust what you see with your own eyes, and also let your values guide you. Sorry for repeating myself, that's a very important point. Scampy. Now, the other thing I wanted to say as well is even bad information can be useful. You know, when you watch a video and it's bad, or you read a paper that you think, I'm not so sure about the findings there, that can be useful because it can help guide you towards the right sort of information. So even though, you know, there's some videos I wouldn't recommend you watch because they're just terrible, you know, watch bad videos, learn from them, say, I don't want to do it this way, I want to do better. Jeez Louise, Scampy, you're so naughty. I want to do better, and then learn from those experiences. So just to summarise the video, trust your instincts, research lots, don't go to one source. Science is consensus based, read the paper, read the abstract, don't just take anyone's word for it or take any information for granted. Research may seem daunting, but the more you do it, the easier it gets, and I know there's loads of barriers that YouTube puts in place and other places that make it more difficult. It's frustrating for us as creators as well, but keep trying, because the more you learn and the better you become, and then the less, well, I would say less you have to learn, but that's not true. You're always learning and trying to improve yourself. So guys, that brings me to the end of the video. I hope you found it interesting and entertaining. I hope you found Scampy and Pickles' antics amusing as well. They're currently staring out the window at the birds outside. So I'm going to take this moment to wrap it up while they're nice and quiet. Any questions, happy to hear from you down in the comments. But in the meantime, from me, Scampy and Pickles, take care and see you later.